Notre Dame week. Yep. Boise State, Notre Dame on Saturday from Notre Dame Stadium. And we got all week to talk about this on Prater and the Ballgame. Prater, we welcome our YouTube audience. This segment is being broadcasted on our YouTube channel. Next time you're on YouTube, please subscribe to the KTIK YouTube channel. And we're here talking strictly offense, Prater, because Boise State and Notre Dame offense, heck yeah, this season. Boise State ranks 9th in America in total offense. Notre Dame ranks 16th in America in total offense. And we're asking our listeners, 208-424-9300, can Boise State's offense keep up with Notre Dame's offense? Now, Prater, even though Boise State on paper, their offense is a little bit better than Notre Dame's. The games aren't played on paper, and you look at the schedules, and you could probably say, yeah, Notre Dame's got probably a more dangerous offense than BSU.
Yeah, but Boise State, the last three games have just been on fire. And yeah, Eastern Washington, Air Force, and App State aren't going to scare a lot of football teams right now, but averaging 49 points a game and well over 500 yards of offense per game. Maddox Madsen has been fairly clean, no issues there whatsoever. But this is going to be closer to a Penn State type of game. And we know how Maddox Madsen did in that game. I think he threw 3 picks and just looked completely overwhelmed. So the reality is somewhere in between the Penn State game in terms of how the offense and Maddox Madsen looked and now in terms of how the offense looks after these 3 games. And you can kind of compare it to Notre Dame, and their offense is clicking pretty well right now. But has Boise State shown you enough? Is Boise State's offense clicking enough right now where they can keep this game competitive? I say that there is a pretty good chance that can happen. I don't think Boise State can win this football game, but I think that their offense is good enough to keep them in the game.
Yeah, I wonder how many points they can put up. I mean, can they get 30 in Notre Dame Stadium? I don't know. I mean, they're statistically will say yes. Statistically speaking, this is going to be a tough day for Notre Dame. Maddox Madsen and this offense are averaging 299 yards passing per game. And Notre Dame obviously led on that running attack, and they are very scary and should be. And they might have their first Heisman Trophy winner since Tim Brown in 1987 this year in Jeremiah Love. But, I think Notre Dame's defense is going to throw some serious kitchen sink, if you will, at Boise State in this offense. And it will be a different animal. These players will be bigger, faster, and stronger. And I don't know if Boise State offensively can do what it's been doing the last 3 games. Sometimes in college football, you see a good team coming off a lot of success, and you kind of run into just like a brick wall where they're just bigger, faster, stronger, better, and it's a mismatch. I hope this isn't it. But Boise State, Greg, Boise State, I mean, how many points are they going to have to score to keep up with Notre Dame? A lot of good questions to have.
One of the things that was kind of a takeaway from Saturday night on the BSU side of the equation was just the fact that, and Maddox Madsen talked about this after the game, he is just very comfortable with where his pass catchers are on the field, and there's a chemistry, and it makes sense, right? Latrell Caples, Matt Lauder, Ben Ford, guys that have been with the program for a while. Obviously, Maddox Madsen is no spring chicken. So I do think that is something that they can hang their heads on. They're not going in, and this is something that we talked about ad nauseum plenty with Boise State, is that they retain a lot of their players. And I think in a game like this, you would hope that's where that maybe comes to the surface and helps you on the field a little bit more, because you're certainly not a group of guys just getting to know each other out there. Now, obviously, the quality of the opponent is a lot different than what you've seen so far, but I think most of the key cogs on offense kind of know where they're supposed to be, and now we'll just have to see how far that can get them.
Yeah, and as much as I like what Maddox Madsen and the wide receivers in the pass-catching game have been doing, I think Boise State needs to rely on its run game here more than anything else, keep the ball out of Notre Dame's hands. Boise State's strength is its offensive line. Boise State's strength is its running back room. And this is one of those kind of games where, you can tend to wear down against a team like Notre Dame. So Sire Gaines, Dylan Riley, and Malik Sherrod are all getting fairly equal carries right now. They're all healthy. At least it seemed like they all came healthy out of that game. And maybe if you come at them in ways, 15 carries for Sire, 15 carries for Malik, 15 carries for Dylan, and just come at them with fresh legs. Nate Potter's weird style of wanting to run all 3 running backs in every offensive series, I think it's ridiculously weird, but it's kind of working for him. It didn't work in the South Florida game. It worked on against Appalachian State, and I think he can balance out that running back. I think that's pretty good. Notre Dame's defensive line doesn't scare me, guys. There's one guy on this team that has 3 sacks. There's no dominant rock star when it comes to actually pressuring the quarterback. So I think Boise State's offensive line can hang with Notre Dame. I think the running game can do enough to create some kind of pressure. And I think the passing game can kind of click to maybe a short passing game and make it work. I think Boise State, I don't think can score 30 points, but I certainly think that they can score enough points to hang. The question here is, and we're not talking defense right now, can Boise State's defense stop Notre Dame's offense? That's a whole nother question we'll tackle on later in this week. But Boise State's going to have to score at least 24 to 34 points to hang in this game.
I think so too, and that's what they've been doing. I'll just say this, and I think Air Force, I think App State, and I think Eastern Washington stink. And all this data that we have from Boise State, and I love it. It's great data to have. I think it's against inferior opponents. That's not going to be the case, but will it matter? I mean, Prater, there's only 19 teams in the country that are averaging more yards on the ground than Boise State, 221 yards per game. That's more than what Notre Dame is doing. But I mean, I get it. Notre Dame's played much tougher competition to this point. You say it's more important that Boise State's able to run the ball than it is maybe being able to connect in the passing game. And I think Greg makes a good point. I mean, these guys have been around together. I know that didn't really help a bunch versus South Florida, but I mean, the experience factor, Boise State's not going in there super wide-eyed. And I don't know if that helps or hurts, or it's just going to be, Notre Dame, I know they don't get a lot of sacks, but those are big boys, man.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big test.
Another thing,
Boise State offensive line for sure, guys.
Another thing that I do think maybe helps Boise State is if I'm sitting here talking about how comfortable it seems like they are with the pass catchers and Maddox Madsen, and Prater's talking about how much they like to run different backs at the opponent. I would think, and this would help them here, they should be a little more unpredictable offensively. I mean, we've talked about it. Their run pass is pretty balanced. And then within that run pass, you're talking about 2-3 different backs getting a lot of the carries and the targets really being spread out. You would hope, if you're Nate Potter, that you're able to use that to your advantage schematically, and Notre Dame isn't really going to be able to key in on any of your offensive players individually that much.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. And Boise State's run the ball 152 times. They've passed the ball 142 times. So that balance is pretty darn close to right there. I think you can keep Notre Dame. I think you can keep them guessing. Eric Chenander knows how to deal with big-time football. He came from Nebraska. He knows how to compete against these big dogs. And I think Eric Chenander is certainly going to help. And I think never mind. I got Nate Potter in terms of his creativity, and he's clicking with this offense right now and doing really good things. I think he can be off balance. I think he can do what he has to do. I just keep going back to what Johnny said, the physical mismatch. That's going to come down and obviously beat Boise State. That's going to be the big difference here. But to me, it's all about the run game. And I'd like Sire Gaines to have his big breakout star. We talked about Ashton Genty having his big breakout moment. Sire Gaines is the kind of physical beast that can handle this. And maybe this is the type of game where we need Sire Gaines to bust out with like 15 to 20 carries and a nice dominant performance. I think he's the kind of guy, if Notre Dame was to look at Boise State's offense, they're going to want 2 of them. They're going to want Cage Casey, and they're going to want Sire Gaines.
Run behind your first-round draft pick, potentially. Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame head coach, had a press conference today and said this about Boise State's offense.
Their offense is explosive. They've averaged about 500-plus yards in 4 games, and I always say it starts with that quarterback. They got a good quarterback that's experienced, that's tough, gritty, takes care of the ball. So it'll be a good challenge for our defense again.
One thing about Boise State's defense that I think can make a difference here, and it might be just get them on their back heels right off the bat. A lot was made on Saturday night. Boise State in the first period of every game this year, combined score, they've outscored their opponents 55-7 in the first quarter. After that, it becomes it's a dead heat across the board for quarter number 2, 3, and 4. If Boise State can get 14 points, let's say if they can score 14 points in this first quarter and kind of get that offense rolling, I think that they can kind of limp their way to the finish. A fast start to me is very imperative.
Appreciate the stuff, guys. Notre Dame week all week. We'll open up the Taco Bell hotline throughout the week so you guys can hop on and have your say as well. Prater, Kobe Carl one of the best Boise State basketball players in program history, played in the NBA, coached in the NBA. He's got a new job back at Boise State. Let's get him on the Taco Bell hotline. Kobe Carl next on KTIK The Ticket.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studio, this is Ticket Traffic.
Traffic sponsored by Vintage Lending Loans by Rick. Mortgage rates are going down, so take advantage with Loans by Rick at Vintage Lending. Apply now at loansbyrick.com. That's loansbyrick.com, NMLS 24.